Hey there, my name is Leonard Guy, and I want to say something about Nottingham Carnival. I know a lot of people is going to be heading up there today to enjoy themselves, but I would appeal to all of young people, not only young people, but anybody who has the idea to go up there to start problems, to not start any problems. Just try to understand that it's a time of enjoyment for people. I'm not a big fan of Nottingham Carnival, even though I've been many times. I'm not 100% big fan of it now because of the problems, and because it's oversized, and it's a big problem waiting to happen. Like, for instance, stampede, crushing, and all that sort of stuff can happen. I was caught in a situation a couple of years ago when I was trying to go somewhere within the carnival, and the crowd was going the opposite direction. And I remember saying to some young women, just try and get out of the way, because it was getting to a point that it was getting dangerous. I could feel that I didn't have enough strength even to fight to go where I wanted to go to. It's almost like a river was pushing me the other way. But back to the appeal, I would appeal to every person who has anger issues to not even to bother to come carnival, because people is going to tread on your feet, people is going to bump into you, and those things will happen because it's carnival. It's oversized, it's too much people in the narrow streets. It's easy for me to say don't cause problems. I don't know your situation. I don't know what's going on with a lot of people that tend to want to stab somebody. I'm not even judging them or nothing like that. But if that's the way you want to carry out your life, remember, it's not you going to be the only one that's been affected. It's going to be the families and all that. But saying that, in the heat of the moment, or if you've got beef with somebody already, you're not going to care what I'm saying. But all I'm saying is that think about your own future. Think about the future of other people. Are you going to give them a future? Some of the people that you're stabbing or doing, they're in the same situation as you. They're working class black, or working class white, working class of any other background. We are the majority. The majority is working class. The majority are those who are not economically free or financially free. You might not understand these things, but if you're young, you're still developing, you're still growing, you're still experiencing life. All you could do at this point in life is to listen to someone that's older to you, and just think to yourself, maybe what they're saying is right. Maybe they're saving me from a really dark future. Maybe they're just saving me from that. So I'm just saying this not because I have any special knowledge, but just that I've been around. I've worked with young people that some of them are not even here on this planet now. They've passed away because they were killed by other young people, and so I've got that experience, and it's bad. It's not good. As a black man, I hate to see people being racist towards black people. You're seeing it more and more now. But I also like to say to young people that are black, if you're a black person, that if you're going to carry out the stereotypes, if you're going to carry out the things that some white people is calling you to be, then you've got to wear the hat. You've got to sort of say to yourself, well, I'm that kind of person that the white person's talking about. The persons that's just making society not a safe place for some people. So at the end of the day, it's all about what you're thinking about. There's a saying that whatever a man thinks or whatever a person thinks, that's what the person becomes. So if you're going to be thinking violence, if you're going to be feeding yourself with violent lyrics from certain music, like drill, not all drill music is like this, trap, different types of music. I'm not saying I'm an expert in these things, but there's different types of music that if you keep feeding yourself with those things, what it's talking about, a lot of times is violence. And so it's easier for you to carry out violence if that's what you're putting into your subconscious, into your mind. So go to Carnival, enjoy yourself, but don't cause problems for yourself or for anybody else. Easy for me to say, even though I've said this message, not everyone's going to get it. And I know there's going to be a portion amount of people that's going to be doing a madness. It's going to be causing problems. I actually remember when I was 15, being in Carnival. My dad took us down there, and I remember seeing these boys attacking this man and robbing him of all of his belongings. I mean, he had a small bag, and I think they took out his wallet, took everything that he had. They took it from him in the middle of the daytime. It was like about 2 o'clock, and they was fighting him, beating the guy, and they didn't have no conscience. And those types of young people have always been around, and for whatever reason they've become like that. You know, there could be many reasons why they become like that. But if you are a young person and you have issues with anger, you find yourself in a gang and you want to come out of it, seek help. You're a bigger person if you seek help to get out of this situation, because sometimes you grow up in an area where there's these gangs and you become part of it. If you're into gangs and you're gang leaders, I can't tell you what to do. All I can say is that there's a better path for you. There's a better path. There's always a better path in life for you to switch and go onto. And the path that you may be on could be destructive to other people. You might not care about it because you might not care about yourself. And so all I'm saying is that try not to cause harm to someone today. Cause harm to somebody today. Nobody wants to be harmed. Nobody wants to suffer pain for no reason. If you've got problems with other people, sort it out outside of Carnival. Now, the history of Carnival. I want to talk about the history of Carnival. A lot of people have lost sight of what it's all about. Some people don't know what it's about. They don't know anything about it. And so they just go up there and they just do their thing. But there is a history to it. Now, Carnival started because there was a man, and his name's gone from me right now. There was a black Jamaican guy that was actually killed before anything to do with Carnival. He was killed, and because Notting Hill in the 1950s had a lot of racial tension. This is when, from 1948, there was a ship called the Windrush. When first set of blacks started to come to England, there was black people here before. The black people was in the war. Some of the same people on the ship was coming back. There were soldiers. Some of them was reporting back for duty. Some of them was already they wasn't in the army anymore. But because they had a taste of England, they decided to come here to get opportunity, because the Caribbean at the time, the employment at the time was really bad. That's partly due to the war, the World War II, and so forth and so forth. And so Windrush was one influx of black people. But after that, there's more and more was coming. People was getting to know England's a place they can get work. After the war, there was a lot of work opportunities because of the amount of people that was killed during the war. And so black people started to come. The Commonwealth countries was opened up by the British, gave them Commonwealth citizenship, gave them a bit easier to travel to England, and they took opportunity of that. But there was tension between the working class white people, because they didn't really understand what was going on there. I don't think the government didn't explain anything about why black people was coming up. But I think the government, from what I understand, didn't really want black people to come up here. They wanted the Commonwealth to be open, but really for those people in the white part of the Commonwealth. So you have like New Zealand, Australia. They wanted those people, and Canada. They wanted those people to come to England to help rebuild certain parts of London and certain cities. That's what they wanted. But in the end, instead, they got a lot of black people, and they wasn't really expecting that, because they didn't want black people to come here, to stay here, and then to mix with white people. So you end up with a mulatto class. They didn't want the mulatto class. They literally, racism at that point was like white people are superior, English people are superior, and we don't want to mix. And that's what it was like. So they didn't really want us in the end. But in the end, we gradually started coming. But the working class people didn't, just saw it as like we came to take over, come to take jobs and whatever. The thing is, there was job vacancies. So we only took jobs that was vacant. Nobody had to lose their job for a black person. But people get caught up in headlines, usually done by more intelligent white people who's trying to stir things. And anyway, this black guy got killed in Notting Hill, and there's a woman called Claudia Jones who came from America, but she was originally from Trinidad. She got thrown out of America because they saw her as a communist. She got thrown out. She used to have a newspaper, and she was really activist in equal opportunities and black empowerment and all that sort of stuff. So she after this black man got killed, she decided to have like a showcase of black culture in a hall. It was in a hall, and I can't remember the exact. It was in Notting Hill area. Can't remember the name of the hall, but she had a showcase of black culture. So they had like some steel pans, costumes and whatever, but it was all indoors. And it went on for a few years. But later on, another woman, which the name's gone from me, she's an Irish woman. She was a community leader, and she had dealings with black people. She mixed with blacks, and so she decided to have, because of the, as I said before, the racial tensions. And this is about 10 years later, just under 10 years. She because of racial tensions, and she worked with young people and she worked with community, she decided to have like a street party on one of the streets in Notting Hill. And she decided to invite this band. I think they were called Hendersons or something. They were like a Trinidadian steel pan. They knew her, but funny enough though, Claudia Jones knew this band also, and this band played in Claudia Jones' indoor carnivals. But this white lady, Irish lady, she decided to have the Trinidadian guys come and play on the streets. And there were some other people there too. And it was a street party, but it was a multicultural, because whoever lived in Nottingham at the time, there were different ethnic groups there already in small numbers, and she basically made it for them to say, look, this is us. We're all part of this one community. Let us go out there on the street and enjoy a street party. But what happened is that the steel pan, they started to walk around, and people started to follow them, and it kind of created like a vibe that you would see in the Caribbean, where people do street carnivals, and they walk around, and people follow them, and it's like a whole procession of people enjoying themselves. And that was the beginning seeds of Carnival. So Claudia Jones brought the cultural part of it, because Carnival partly comes from Trinidad and other islands or whatever, and so she brought that element of it, the steel pan, the costumes, and then this white lady brought that onto the streets. But it was about 10 years later when the white lady did this, the Irish lady. Claudia Jones already passed away, so Claudia Jones didn't get to experience and it wasn't called a carnival, it was just a street party or a little festival on the streets. She didn't get to experience that. Claudia Jones didn't get to experience that. So that is partly how the issue started. But there was there's one or two documentaries on YouTube, so check it out, that gives you more detail and gives you some of the characters that was involved at the time, some of the men that was instrumental in bringing it forward. Obviously this white lady started the street bit, but then it went forward and forward till you had like a carnival committee, and all of those stuff started to build upon till it became a structured yearly event that grew. By the time it got to the 1970s, when I was like a young boy, Carnival already started to grow really big, because when I went, I was 10 years old, it was so big. It was crowded, just like you see it now. It was crowded, But obviously it wasn't as crowded as what you see now. Now is like, I mean, it was crowded, but now the numbers are even more higher. And maybe the streets have expanded more, the amount of streets. But that is a little piece of Carnival. So if you're at Carnival today, or you're going, or you might hear this after Carnival, just let me realize that even though you're having a good time, great time, there's two aspects to it that made it why it started. One, it was a showcase of Caribbean culture, and that happened indoors with Claudia Jones. And the second was Irish woman. You're going to check out the Irish woman's name. I'm not going to say it now, I'm in my car, I'm just talking this top of my head. But the Irish woman's name, very important woman, she put this on the street, and her motive was unity of Notting Hill. So that was multicultural. So when people say, when people see white people or Spanish people doing stuff in Carnival now, they might think, what are you doing there? But the thing is, Carnival started off multicultural. It might not have had no Spanish bands doing anything at the time, but it was meant for a cultural unity of everybody. So it's not really out of place to see other people, other cultures there, but the root of the culture would have been Caribbean culture, but other elements came in. So that is the root of it. So this talk was basically about the violence, about saying to young people or even older people, you know, try to hold down your anger. Don't come out. If you feel like somebody treads on your foot, you're going to stab them. Or somebody you got beef with already, you're going to do something to them. I'm not here to judge anybody, but nobody wants to be stabbed. Nobody wants to be harmed. You know, everybody, not a person doing the stabbing doesn't want to be stabbed. You know, do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. That is the motto that can fit any culture. If every culture was following that, we won't have to worry so much. But sometimes we focus too much on our culture, and we always want to say that other people, they don't have a culture, or they're not as good as us. There's a lot of racial tension today. I mean, there's a lot of racial tension right now. I watched a few Carnival clips, and people have been racist on there about, you know, people need to go back to their own country. People don't want Carnival here. I think Carnival maybe should finish, done with. It's overcrowded, it's dangerous. It's going to be, one day something could happen. It's going to be major, and I hope it's not going to be today. So please, if people saying close Carnival, some people are saying it for racist reasons, some people are saying it because it's impractical now, some people are saying it for all different reasons. But as a black man, I think it should go. I've been in it a lot of times. I've been there, and you get there and sometimes you think, what are you doing here? When I've enjoyed myself there times. I have. The atmosphere has been really electrifying. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm not saying it's terrible. But what I'm saying is that it could come to an end. It could move it maybe. That's another topic altogether. Anyway, if you are in Carnival, enjoy yourself. Be safe. Be safe. It's the main thing. Be safe, and don't cause any problems. It's easy to say for me to say, but don't cause any problems. You know, count to 10, as they say in school. If you feel violent, count to 10. You know, just don't. What you're doing when you cause violence, black people have already got a bad name, even though the majority of us are peace-loving people. But there's a certain amount of people out there that's being racist towards us because they see a few of us doing mad stuff, and they think all of us is like that. The thing is, every race, and not so much race, but every ethnic group has their bad eggs, their bad apples, and it's not just black people. It's not just black people. There's a lot of white people that's done really bad stuff. English people, serial killers. There's a lot of major stuff that some people that's making racist comments now, they're just born yesterday. They don't know nothing about what's happened just a few years ago, like 1980s, 90s. They don't know about these serial killers. They don't know about men that gone into schools and killed kids, children, loads of children. This happened in Dunblane, I think that was, and loads of other mad stuff happened. Sutcliffe, and all these different things happen, and these are white people. Crime hasn't got a color. Your skin color doesn't determine the type of crime that you do, or the criminality that you get up to. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.